Hi everyone, it's me, Nikki, and today I'm here with a book review. Firstly, I'd like to apologize if the lighting looks weird. It's like in the hundreds here in California, and I think it was the electric company that was like, please don't use so many lights. So I've turned them off. So now there's like a reflection in my glasses. Sorry about that. But, so I'm like sitting weird. Oh, can I sit like this? You still get a little bit. Anyway, I'm doing a review of The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. I butchered that first name. I so apologize. So this is, as it says, introducing The Witcher. It is the first book featuring, it has Geralt and Jaskier and Yennefer are mentioned. Is it Jaskier? Did they say the J in Polish? Because in the book he's Dandelion, but in the TV show he's Jaskier, and in the video games he's Dandelion. So I'm not, and Geralt, when he says Jaskier, doesn't say it very loudly, so I don't know how to pronounce it. So this has, it's very clever. The first one is The Voice of Reason, and that's the only one that's like, there's 7 parts of it, I think. Yeah. So it like opens and closes, and then in between are short stories and other parts of The Voice of Reason. And I believe this has all of the stuff that's featured in the first season. See, this one, the first short story is The Witcher, which is about Foltest and his sister and his daughter with the Striga. Where's the next one? The next one is With a Grain of Truth, which is not in the show. I'll talk about that. Then it is, there's not a table of contents, so I do have to flip through it. Then it's The Lesser Evil, which is Renfri and Blaviken. I should have put bookmarks in. A Question of Price is the one where Ciri's parents get together, I think. Yes, with Calanthe and the fight. Okay. Next, The Edge of the World is with the Sylvan and the Elves. And then the last one that isn't A Voice of Reason is, in fact, The Last Wish, which is the Genie and Yennefer. So, like I said, it starts with A Voice of Reason, and it is essentially Geralt sleeping with someone, a woman. So it's, as I wrote in my notes, sexy times from the start. And I was also very surprised that in the book, Geralt's voice is called unpleasant. Yeah, because the innkeeper in the 1S, what will it be? And Geralt says beer. His voice was unpleasant. And I'm like, is that because he's a witcher? Or because Henry Cavill's voice is not unpleasant, and in the video games, his voice is not unpleasant. So that was weird. And it's also very violent. They don't mess... Mr. Sapkowski, which is what I'm going to call him since I cannot say his first name, does not mess around. So like I said, I don't know why I keep putting the book up because I need it. The first one is called The Witcher, and it is about Foltest, who marries... Does he marry? He impregnates his sister, and they have their daughter, who becomes the Striga. So, and it's different than the episode, because Triss isn't in it. She is mentioned in the book at the end, but she's not in it. There's a fight scene between Geralt and the Striga. Striga. I like to say it like that. Which is probably, if you've seen the show, it's exactly like that. They did a very good job recreating it. The bad guy's pretty much the same. And he tries to buy Geralt off, which I'm like, no. And it's also a story within a story, because Geralt is telling two people. What are their names? Nenneki and what is her name? It's Iola or Iona? Iola. And he basically tells them the stories of the things that have happened to him. So he gets hurt by the Striga, and instead of Triss taking care of him, it's somebody else. And he then goes to see Nenneke. I don't think I'm saying that right either. Who helps heal him. She is the priestess of Melitelli, who's the goddess of all the good things, basically. So it sets up the world without it being too overwhelming, which I liked. And of course Geralt does talk to Roach, and that'll never not be cute. Okay. So the next one, A Grain of Truth, is basically Beauty and the Beast. And Geralt gets pulled into this because he notices some dead bodies on the road. And he runs into the beast of the castle, and he is not terrified at all. And I wrote down it's demented fairy tales, because on pages 67 and 68 of my book, the beast is called Nivellen, and so the father comes and picks a blue flower, and then he's like, rah, 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 and he's like, give me your daughter, and he goes, I don't have a daughter, or whatever. But then they start bringing women to him, and the women stay for about a year and help around the castle. They have sex with him, and then he gives them money. It works for everybody, basically. And so it's just an interesting tale until finally Nivellen meets the woman of his dreams, so to speak. And these next ones that are in the story are all vampires. They are all Polish vampires. This one is a Rusalka, which is an evil mermaid, and they control, if you go in the water. And they have there's sirenish singing, even for vampires. There's the Mula, which is a strong vampire. The Alpor, which is a stronger vampire. And the Bruxa, which is the most powerful vampire. And I thought that was really interesting because I'm not Polish, so I'd never heard of any of these. And I like learning about like not monsters, but like the legends of other countries. That's fun. So yes. And then back in, I suppose, the present, after a grain of the Beauty and the Beast one, we go back to him with Nenenke, who is awesome because these guys, they're in a area that I can't remember, and Nenenke is basically powerful because she's the high priestess of Melitele, and Melitele is like the one everybody worships. And these dudes come in and they're like, ugh, Witcher, you gotta leave. We don't need your bullshit. And then Nenenke is like, does he have to leave though? And then they insult him, and Geralt's like, I'm a Witcher, I can kick your ass, but I'm not going to because I have more important things to worry about. Ugh, I don't like these people at all. And she kicks them out, and it's just awesome. And I wrote here, they really don't like Witchers, which I don't understand, because Witchers kill the monsters that nobody else has the guts to kill, right? Like, you don't see these fucks going out and killing monsters. Geralt's the one, and all the other Witchers are the ones taking all the damage. Like, what are you doing? Nothing. Fuck you. And then it's Blaviken, which is different. There isn't well, there's a little girl, but she doesn't come up to Geralt. It is his friend Cald Imayan, who's the alderman, and he shows Geralt to Stregobor. And Renfri's backstory is actually like Snow White, because she's the princess. And then an evil stepmother comes in and tries to have her killed, and then she goes to live with gnomes, and then they go out, instead of like animals, they go out robbing and thieving. So I basically wrote fuck Stregobor and fuck Renfri, because Renfri won't give up. And in the TV show, they didn't have the ultimatum where basically Renfri goes to Stregobor and is like, if you don't come out of your tower, I'm going to kill everybody. And Stregobor was like, lol, I don't care. And that's why Geralt killed all these people. And the townspeople don't even know it. And his friend, the alderman, feels really bad about it, but he doesn't have a choice. And that's why he's the Butcher of Blaviken. The fight, I thought, was also, like, the TV show did a good recreation of that fight as well, between the Renfri's people and between Renfri. And it's really great because Geralt is telling Iola, and he's pouring out his heart, and I said backstory, to Iola, and she doesn't talk, like, because she's a priestess of Melitele, she's given up something, and that is talking. But she still has, like, because Nenenke wants Geralt to, like, commune with Iola, because Iola has visions. And then the next big story is with, oh Jesus, I have to find it. It's the one with Ciri's parents, And this does not have Jaskier in it. It's the same setup, but without Jaskier. In this, the queen wants to see Geralt. Like, Jaskier doesn't ask him to come. But it sets up his child surprise. And in this, I think Calanthe does fight. Like, there's a mention of that, but she seems, at least in this version, she's less, like, she doesn't walk in the armor and stuff. And then, let's see, I made some notes. 163, where is it? Oh yeah, there's a Cinderella reference. That Geralt says, last winter a prince hired him to find a beauty who fled a ball and lost a slipper. And then I thought there was another one. Why did I say 173? Oh, no. I'm not allowed to reveal my face before midnight strikes, maybe? That's also a Cinderella reference. They also have a Rumpelstiltskin reference. Rumpelstiltskin? I don't know how to say that. He comes for a reward and she ran him away, and then both she and the child died of plague. And then it basically works out. Mousesack is in it, and it's a good fight scene as well. Like, Mr. Sapkowski writes really good fight scenes, and the dialogue's really well. Like, sometimes when you read a translation, there's a bit of, I'm gonna call it a stutter, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Like, that's not really, like, it doesn't flow well, but this flows amazingly well. This one's by Orbit, and so maybe they did the translation, and it's just a very good translation. So, yes, good job. And it ends sort of happily, since you know what's going to happen. And then, finally, Jaskier shows up. Nenenke, they call him Dandelion. Nenenke is like, ugh, why do you want to see him? And Geralt's like, he's my friend. Opposites attract. So he's much nicer in this than he is in the TV show. He calls him his friend. And then he's talking to Jaskier, and Geralt's just feeling lonely because he kills things. Like, he goes out and kills monsters, but then nowadays when he goes looking, they're like, oh no, don't kill it, we need it. So he's like, what am I doing? I'm a witcher and I can't do my job. And then I think, because at the end of the book he rides off with Jaskier, and I think this one, The Edge of the World with the elves and the grain, is supposed to be set after they leave, but it's set like, it's weird. And this is Posada, where he met him in the show, but he's known him forever. And Geralt is a lot nicer to other people in this book than the TV show. There's also a girl, Lily, who the people of the town look to, and she wasn't in the show. And a couple of the other things that happens with the elves also weren't in the show, which I guess makes sense, but that's kind of a shame because it's a really good scene. And I thought it was funny. The elves didn't recognize a witcher, and I'm like, pretty sure you would have seen a witcher, but okay. And poor Jaskier's lute. Is it a lute? Gets ruined and he gets a nice elven one. And then, of course, the last wish, which is what it's after, which is how Yen and Geralt meet. She is cool. She comes across as very cool. She doesn't need him. They say she's stuck in this town, but is she really stuck in the town? No. This is when Triss is mentioned. And they're friends in this. They flirt very heavily. And yet Geralt only wants to help Jaskier. He doesn't really care what Yennefer wants, as he's willing to do it. But then Yen, at the end, I know why she wants to do it, but when you read this, you don't know why she's trying to control the genie. She comes across as quite of a bitch and calls Geralt stupid. Like, what? Like, yeah, I was flirting with you, but I knew what I was doing, and I was doing it to control you. And then I think I might be dumb, but it says that he does a thing to a guard, and that was his second wish. And you don't know what his third wish is. He doesn't say it, but I don't know what his first wish was. So if you could tell me what his first wish was supposed to be, that would be great. And, I mean, it supposedly has a happy ending, but we all know what happens, don't we? Don't we? And I did enjoy the ending of the book, because Geralt tells those stupid soldiers off, and he's like, what are you gonna fucking do about it? Nothing. And then Iola touches Geralt, and that's when she has this vision of blood, blood, blood. More blood and shouting. So, and then Geralt leaves, and you're like, what happens now? Gotta wait for the second book. So, I really enjoyed it. I haven't watched all of the TV show, but I've seen enough to understand. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It makes me want to watch the show again, and makes me want to play the video games, which are a continuation of the book series, but they're not canon, I don't think. So yeah, I really, really liked it, and I think if you don't mind sex, blood, or violence, like if any of those things are kind of like, not for me, it's probably, if you've seen the show, it's probably like that. Yeah, I would recommend reading it, especially if you've seen the show or played the games, because you just get a little more insight into the world. So, yeah. That's my review for The Last Wish. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're having a lovely day. Goodbye.